This video is brought to you by Midway USA. Support the channel by choosing Midway for your shooting and outdoor supplies.
The SSG-69, or the Steyr SSG-69, year of 1969. Year of 1969, when cars looked like this, and women dressed like this, and American snipers were using this. In 1969, when the Austrians had come up with a sniper rifle that had a high-quality Colt hammer forged barrel, full polymer target stock, detachable box magazines that were made of polymer with a clear back that you could see how many rounds were left, with an adjustable length of pull that had a hyper-short 60-degree bolt throw and hyper-short bolt travel distance, giving you a faster follow-up shot. And on top of that, running high-quality Austrian glass that had a ballistic reticle telling you how long the distance of your target is, so you could quickly dial the distance into your scope turret. This particular sniper system is absolutely a forerunner to what we know today as the precision rifle or the sniper rifle. Unfortunately, many have forgotten. So let's reminisce a little bit about what 1969, the year when we landed on the moon, looks like in one of the world's most advanced Western sniper rifles that was offered.
Are you ready to do the things?
Jawohl!
150. Impact. Impact. Okay, 200. Yup. 250. Okay. That was on the left edge. Nice.
Was that centered up?
Yep. All right, we're on it. 300. Impact.
You know where it was?
I can't see which splash it was, but the reaction of the plate looked like a center hit.
Okay, ready?
Yep. Yep. Centered up, maybe just an inch low.
Okay.
350. Dead center, 1 inch to the left, maybe.
Okay.
Dead center, literally dead center. Nice shot.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna bump it to number 4, and I'm gonna hold slightly low to the right.
Okay. That works.
You know where it hit?
Yes, it was 3 inches low of center, perfect windage. Cleared. Second
Nice.
shot was up nearer to his neck.
Okay.
We are on it. 450. Impact. Left half. Centered up. Nice shot.
Nice. I'm gonna bump it up to 4.5.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll hold it to the right, and I'll hold dead on.
All right, let's see it. Yep. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna try to use a number 600 meter hold.
Okay. 600 meter off the right, yeah?
Yep.
Yep. That elevation was perfect. It hit the 3 o'clock position on the plate.
3 o'clock?
It hit the 3. It was a hit.
Yeah.
It hit the 3 o'clock position. If it were a clock face, it hit the number 3. Right edge of the plate. Oh! I mean, you hit it again.
Yep.
Were you trying to shoot?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I forgot this is 1 shot per. My bad.
Well, it was definitely another hit. I was moving the camera a bit, so
I'm sorry. Yeah, that was absolutely another hit. That's my bad.
All right.
We'll deduct that shot, but the first shot was not a fluke.
So let me ask: do you want to shoot the deer at 725, which is a big target?
Let's do the deer just because we need to keep in line with the distance, but I could keep it in the deer's kill zone. How about that?
All right, let's aim for the kill zone on the deer. Fire when ready. I believe it went just over his back.
Okay.
That's dead in the vital zone.
Okay.
Right in this vital zone.
Nice. I'll do 7.75 with the click higher. And then, yeah, hold dead. Hold to the right.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, dead on the elevation, but yeah, we're going to be off the right here with the wind. Okay, I got it. That was 1 target length to the right at his head level. Just off the right edge. Good elevation. Just off the left edge. Just off the right. 6 inches maybe.
So the problem with this scope, it doesn't have typically we're used to using our mil-dot scopes. I don't have a left to right reference on the windage. Well, not an easy one anyways.
So you're just having to hold off in space?
Yeah, I'm just holding off sort of where I think it's hitting and then trying to make adjustments.
The one that went off the left, I think we had a gust. Honestly, I think it was a windage gust that pressed it, to be honest with you.
All right. Let's try to finish this one.
Okay, I'm there.
Ready?
Yep. Just off the right. I mean, that was 1 inch to the right.
Okay.
Impact.
Oh, good. All right, so that is course cleared for this one. Actually, for a scope from, what, the 70s? The quality is surprisingly good.
Yeah,
But
looking down that's actually, like, very nice.
it's very clear. I mean, I'm seeing, like, a warmer glow to it,
Yep.
but it's very, very clean glass.
Yeah, I agree. It looks very nice when I was looking through it.
I mean, when that's a crazy thing about it, right? You know, like nowadays, and I know this is like we're supposed to be talking about the rifle, but Josh and I.
Well, it's part of the system, right?
Yeah, that part of the system really surprised me as we come to it because everything about the scope mounting and the scope itself, like it looks like a chintzy glass for nowadays. But the actual quality of the glass, even though it is a vintage piece of glass, it seems to work very well. Like the elevation was actually spot on going out. It dead ends at 800, which is why we're not running this on the precision rifle course. To be honest, nowadays, if you brought something like this out, it would not be considered a pure precision rifle. This is more so considered a crossover hunting rifle, probably.
Yeah.
Whereas back in 1969, this is an actual sniper rifle. So very lightweight. The bolt throw, I don't know if you guys notice, is very nice and short. Part of shooting bolt actions is being able to use your flick of the wrist in running the bolt, and the bolt throw being really a low angle bolt throw makes it a really fast action. Also, unlike a lot of modern day offerings, these have rear locking lugs and interrupted rear locking lugs. So I can go on and on because despite this not being a modern rifle, it has a lot of real cool innovations because, and on top of that, it uses a polymer stock from 1969. So I feel like we could just go on forever, but I'm cold right now. What did you think about that run?
Man.
Huh?
Let's take it to the debrief.
I'll see you guys at the debrief.
Good run, good run, good run.
Well, hello there. You must have caught us at the battalion field headquarters as we were about to break for lunch. Now, we're trying to not have the MREs. I hear the boys in the field are quite fond of them. I hope you're enjoying the show thus far. Shows like this, they're brought to you by Slate Black Industries. But more importantly, we have the support from the patrons of Patreon and Utreon. Now, that's true. This group of men and women, they support us intellectually, financially, but most importantly, emotionally. So today, I'd like to invite you, come, join us, become one of us. Together, we could plan to conquer the world of firearms technology. But if you cannot, that's all right. We completely understand. We'd be just as happy to hear from you in the comments section below. Well, without further ado, we'll leave you back to it.
All right, welcome back into the debrief. Henry, a killer run. You were really on fire right until that 800 target, which gave you a little bit of issue on the left and right, which admittedly with the wind we were having that day makes sense, but overall, a killer run.
Yeah, I mean, I think after all, it is a Scharfschützengewehr, right? So it was made for precision, albeit with an older sharpshooting theory, I suppose. Which the interesting thing about this, like the SSG-69, if you look at it closely, it has a lot of design cues that came from yesteryear. But you can see that they have translated, some of them have translated to current days. Specifically to this rifle. Now, I've got to mention, we're releasing this video at the same time Ian over at Forgotten Weapons is releasing an SSG-69 video. However, if I were to give a 3-minute rundown on this?
Hit it.
So you'll notice that the SSG-69, at the core of it, on the receiver side, it has a very short bolt throw, an extremely short bolt throw. That's from 6 lugs that are of an interrupted lug design that cams it open and close. So it's a very simple, it's a very easy cam to unlock and start extracting the cartridge, and then the pull back is also, the bolt throw is also extremely short. So the theory is to give the shortest and fastest bolt throw for a 308 style cartridge as much as possible. The liberal use of polymers on the SSG-69, remember this was from 1969. Most manufacturers were still manufacturing glass-bedded into wood stock type of sniper rifles at this point. And Steyr was already using polymer. But not just polymer stocks, they were also using polymer magazines. And the magazines were of a snail design. Now, what you see right here has an AICS conversion to it, so it uses Accuracy International magazines. The downside to old polymer is that the construct, the mix is just not the same. The fiber mix is not the same as the current stuff that we use, Josh. And so a lot of those old magazines start to
You
chip.
have deterioration, right?
Yeah,
Like the longevity just isn't there.
Yeah, it's just fragile at this point. But the design is still interesting, right? And then some of the small cues that you could even take away from this is that it has on the stock, it has an adjustable length of pull by using stackable stock pieces. And this is something that like you see in Accuracy International rifles, you see in later even like Sauer rifles, Macmillan.
The Magpul hunter stock has spacers that you can insert to adjust length of pull in the stock.
Yeah, so a lot of these theories are encapsulated into this type of this old school 1960s technology rifle. And on top of that, hammer forged barrel with fixed sights on it as a backup to the scope system. And typically they're supposed to be paired with Kalas glass, but this one came with a Swarovski glass, which...
And as I understand it, Swaro and Kalas are almost interchangeable.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get like hate on this from some shape and degree, but as I understand, their manufacturing is actually like there's some shared crossover manufacturing there.
They're both Austrian.
If I recall correctly, at least in the LPVO world, Kalas is like the mill, not as in military, but as in mill radian version of Swarovski glass. So the 1-6 and 1-8 Swarovskis don't come in a mill reticle. Last I looked, this is all probably a year or two ago that I did this, but the Kalas reticles do. And as I understand it, a lot of the design functionality is very similar.
Well, I could assure you, Josh, that this scope did not have any mill reticles in it.
Oh no! but in typical Swaro fashion, the glass was actually really, really good. Like it was extremely clear for being 50 years old.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest takeaway from some of the vintage premium glass. I think earlier when we were shooting Ian's FRF2, he had a Swarovski, the same type of scope on his as well, and that thing was clear as day. I mean, it looked like it was modern glass manufacturing. The glass clarity was absolutely there, and on top of that, both of these used a simple BDC turret dial for the bullet drop adjustment, cammed for 308s, and specifically we were shooting 168 grain match 308 projectiles, which would match up to what this thing was cammed for. And so, as you could see, elevation-wise, there was only one error on elevation.
Yeah.
And that was sort of...
at the gigantic deer target.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, that's obviously, part user error, because I just did not get the bullet drop right, because you see...
You were intimidated by the deer, Henry.
I was.
It's okay to say so.
Is that that's a full-size deer?
It's not quite. It's probably like a three-quarter size deer.
Okay. Okay, so I didn't know exactly where I was looking at holding, because I was basically, I think I had it like 700, I think, and I was holding dead on and it went over. So that sounds about right, because 700 meters is 770 yards, and it would have gone over. And that
target's around 725, 730.
Yeah, so once
again, it's an unknown distance course, right? So, but we have a pretty good idea of where most of the targets are. It's just not precise, incremental, exact positional targets.
Yeah. So the rifle itself it's old. I mean, it's from the 60s. It's from 1969.
But just before you go on, Henry, just a couple points I wanted to cue in on. You mentioned the 168s. Normally, in most 308 match rifles or quote unquote sniper systems that we're shooting nowadays, anything modern, we're shooting your brew of the M118 LR cartridge. In this instance, we didn't. And again, I think you mentioned, but just to clarify, it was because you were trying to match better with the reticle and what it was cammed for.
The reticle and the twist. I mean, the sniper
And the
rifles
twist.
back in the yester years typically cater towards 168 grain match. So that's why we were trying to match up to that, what it was designed for. And similarly, if we were to shoot a PSG-1 one day, Josh, it would also hopefully be shooting 168 grain match projectiles, because that's what they used to be. That used to be the standard.
Right.
I think 175 is a very GWatt or post GWatt.
Yeah,
era,
2000 and onward development, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Same with 77s and the 5.56 gun, right? I mean, I don't recall. That's where you see the twist rate getting faster on 5.56 guns to accommodate the heavier, longer.
Yeah,
projectiles.
back in the day, you'd see Varminters shoot 69 grain, 69 grain match. Like when we were starting to shoot, Josh, 69 grain was that match load that
was
nobody
it.
ever shot.
That's right. That's right.
And now
I actually remember you and I used to shoot. We used to shoot PPU. PPU match 69s. Do you remember that? I do. Back when we started 3-gun together, I remember that. Yeah.
Yep. We thought it was some type of a special sauce, but honestly, I think I would have actually done better if I just held to 55s and just worked on my bullet drop back then. Because like we're going off on a tangent here, but the projectile weight does have quite a bit to do with the system itself, because what you see right here of what we've shown is basically a full Austrian military sniper system from the 60s and 70s onwards, with exception to the magazine, because we did not want to break any of the more fragile SSG-69 magazines. And so with the full system matching with a comparable loaded cartridge, you see it performs exceedingly well, which, by the way, talking about the full system loadout, I was wearing my traded Austrian paratrooper uniform top. And
I really like that top. Just the coloration and everything. It's pretty sweet. That's on point.
But the thing is, that was an issued top up until I think I traded for it in 2014. So the Austrians actually did not wear camouflage up until then.
That's pretty crazy.
But anyways, as far as the run though,
yeah, that was what the point on the projectiles and the effectiveness. You had one slip at 725 where you sent the round a bit high, and in hindsight we actually go, oh yeah, we probably shouldn't have been holding dead on, right? That makes sense. It was probably user error. When you get over to the 800 and you had some issues with the wind, where the wind was gusting into the 20 mile per hour plus range, you have to remember that's a reduced size C-zone target. So those rounds, numerous of them, were just left and just right. It definitely would have struck a man-sized torso standing there. Not in the vital, not direct vital hit, but definitely would have struck on all of those rounds. So again, a very, very capable system, to your point.
So let's look at the last series of shots at 800. Why there were so many misses, though. I mean, one, it's working with the wind essentially. So a lot of, even if you look at the precision rifles that we shoot, a lot of times, well, actually, I don't think people out there have ever seen me dial winds, because I don't like to dial wind typically if I'm in a field condition. Especially something like that day where I was running, like it started at around 10 miles and then it really picked up towards the end. It was pushing at 18 to 22 intermittent gusts coming in, right? I was having trouble figuring out where to hold it towards that last target, because I'm using a 6-power scope. Very clean glass, but a 6-power scope without a lot of reference points on the reticle itself. So a lot of times when I'm shooting like any type of a dot or a hash military type scope, I'd like to dial the elevation up so I have one of the variables figured out. And then if I have on the scope, if I have mil dots or hashes, that's what helps me judge on how much I want to hold off. So the combination of it having intermittent wind and not having easy hashes to use, also using it at low power, that gave me a more difficult task of judging the distance left or right. So
Absolutely. Yep.
but I'd say honestly, the rifle itself, if I were to say anything about it, it was categorized as a sniper rifle. But honestly, if you look at the rifles today that are categorized as sniper rifles, it's say bolt-action sniper rifles, the AW, for instance, TRGs, any of the Remington 700 derivations, so like your M24, your M40s, your custom match, like the PRS rigs that are three-lugged Remington 700 base rifles, all of those things compared to this 1969 creation from Steyr. There was a lot that I feel like Steyr spearheaded, but it's so light. It doesn't feel like a modern day sniper rifle, like the way it shoots, the way it feels.
Yeah. That's a great point, and that's worth sort of diving into a bit deeper, right? Because when you look at weight within the perspective of rifles in general, the heavier the gun, generally speaking, we consider it to be less desirable because it's harder to carry around with you, right? It's harder to climb with, it's harder to go hike with or carry up the side of a mountain. It's harder to maneuver with, in general, not particularly sought after. But once it's in position, weight is an asset on a scoped precision rifle, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, your follow-on shots are way faster when you have a weighted down rifle. So as a defensive sniper, I'd say, or as a NATO sniper that goes to a hide and stays there and expects very low movement, that would point towards your Arctic Warfares, your AWs, your M24s. Rifles that are heavier. Well, I'd say, honestly, M24 is somewhere in between. M24s are fairly light compared to what we see nowadays. Nowadays, sniper rifles have just gone quite heavy.
It's a full chassis gun, right? It's the full chassis style guns. And that's not universally true because we have other rifles like, for example, the Daniel Defense. That
the Delta 5
is
Pro.
is not really given a bunch of weight, even though it's in a chassis. But a lot of the precision bolt guns, especially within the world of PRS, are severely on a spectrum of lightweight and maneuverable to heavy for better follow-up shots and keeping the glass on target through recoil. They're obviously jammed to that far side towards recoil control and weight. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this rifle, the SSG, sits very far towards what we would probably qualify as some sort of like a hunting rifle,
like a crossover rig.
Yeah.
So kind of like the Hunter Remington 700 that you put
right.
together.
Yeah,
something
exactly.
that could use a more tactical style scope, but at the same time you could go hike in mountains for a long time and wouldn't be tired out. Which, if you look at the terrain that the Austrians work in, quite frankly, they are primarily alpine type of alpine troops.
Absolutely, right?
When I worked with the Austrians, those guys had cardio for days because they just came off of the mountains. Especially the paratroopers, they were even more fit than some of the other Austrian soldiers. And so especially when First Cav came to work with us, at least we had some elevation being stationed in Germany. Like those guys from First Cav coming from Texas, going into some type of elevation, and
Brutal.
then working with these guys from the Austrian army,
just living it. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, brutal.
And imagine these guys too. They don't have body armor because in 2014 they still didn't issue body armor for the Austrian army.
So again, the whole concept or the whole strategic like decision making is about weight, right? If when we're looking at that,
Yep.
right, it's all lightweight, fast movement, ability to cover great distances in alpine environments, etc. The SSG falls right into that doctrine of sort of military application, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it may be old, but it's obvious when you look at this rifle how it shoots, some of the design cues that it took. It spearheaded a lot of development that led to current firearms designs. Might I say, it's like the Glock using polymer and opening up an entire genre of, Wonder Nines.
Yeah.
This particular rifle put a lot of thought and a lot of design elements into it. Some of them got picked up, some of them did not, but the rifle itself is an absolute performer given context to how it was designed to perform. I think this particular rifle it deserves more attention to what it has accomplished for the sniper precision rifle community and even the crossover hunting rifle designs. But nowadays, it's people don't typically take their SSG-69s to shoot because they've become somewhat collectibles.
Right. Well, again, which is why it's fantastic that we got the opportunity to run one on the show.
Before we end, I do need to thank our friend Eric for sending over the rifle. Now, he may still be on deployment at this point, so the rifle will be sent back and it will be waiting for Eric when he comes back from deployment. And I'm thankful for Eric's generosity, but even more thankful that he's coming home safe.
And there you have it, guys. Thanks again for tuning into this episode. As always, do all those good YouTube things. Drop a comment for the algorithm beast down below. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. But also, if you choose to, visit us over on Utreon and Rumble, where we are now publishing content. Again, in case anybody decides to do anything crazy here on old YouTube.
We'll see you guys on the range, and auf Wiedersehen.
This is Joe 96, 4 Vic, 8 packs, Redcon 1, green to green. How copy, over?
Joe 96, this is 716, roger, over. 16, Bill 91, 1 pack, green, over. This is 716, roger, over.
16, 2, 1 Victor, 2 packs, Redcon 1, over.